Hello everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of BrainScratch. I'm your host John Lorden, and today we're going to be talking about a case that just will not let go of its firm grip on my heart, and I know many of you feel the same way. We are going to do a bit of an update episode on the Terry Missy Bevers murder. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I will include links down below to the previous episodes I've done on it. If you are a long-term brain scratcher, you know that this case is very troubling to me and to many people in the country. Essentially, the short of it is Terry was a fitness instructor. She goes by Missy, I should say Missy, I guess. Missy was a fitness instructor. She had put on Facebook that they were moving her class from the outdoors to a local church for the next morning, and she was encouraging everyone to be there. And that next morning, someone broke into the church before she arrived. They were dressed in police uniform and covered pretty much from head to toe, and murdered her, seemingly with some type of blunt force trauma that might have included a hammer, unfortunately. I do have a screenshot here of some of the footage, and that's one of the problems with this case, or one of the reasons why it's extremely perplexing, is there is a lot of footage of this person walking around the church before she shows up. They are going into multiple rooms, although I kind of question if they're really going into those rooms or just opening doors to make it look like they might have been conducting a burglary. There's some times where you can see them open doors and they just don't step into the room all the way. In the footage, you might also notice that there is a point where they use tools to try to jimmy a door open. They seem a bit clumsy with those tools. They don't seem to do a very good job, and after about 10 seconds of trying, they just leave the door alone and continue. So I really have to question the thought that they were there with robbery as a motive. But what's been frustrating about this case is that it has just gone quiet. About 6 months after it happened in April of 2016, the press started kind of coming back up, and everyone was just saying the same thing. We're all frustrated. This has been going on for 6 months. We have all this footage. The person seems to have a walking gait that is somewhat unique. Then the internet kind of caught on to this, and there have been many comparisons, people trying to analyze the walking gait. They thought it looked like Missy's father-in-law. People have done other analysis, including myself, which I'll include links to down below, trying to analyze the face, the very pixelated face, if you zoom in and do some contrast adjustment, trying to compare that to other people that are known persons of interest in the case. I even had one of them reach out to me via Twitter. So there's been a lot of noise around this case, but in terms of true information that has come from the police department, not a whole lot. I would say practically nothing has really come out of the police department as an official update to this case since maybe May of 2016. So that's been a long time. Now, there have been a few things that have gone on lately, and one thing that has happened that has left me with a huge question that I've been trying to get answered for you guys. I don't know if I have it quite ready yet, but we're going to go into it anyway. And of course, I will let you know the caveats around that as we get to it. But let's start with the things that we do know that have happened since our last update. Here's one of those articles from dfw.cbslocal.com, 6 months and still no answers in the Missy Bevers murder mystery. But we do learn Nickelodeon have brought in a new set of eyes to look at the case from a fresh perspective. Experienced homicide detectives from other departments and agencies are reviewing the Bevers case, and this was posted in October of 2016, so we're now looking at this from the lens of January, 3 months later. Still no real significant developments, and you have to wonder, they had announced very early on in this case that the FBI was assisting them. What kind of help could be better than FBI resources? I'm not sure, but apparently there are new experts looking at this case, but we still haven't heard anything about any possible findings that they may have come across. Also in October of 2016, later in the month, we hear that 2 anonymous donors have contributed $15,000 each to the reward fund for information leading to an arrest, raising the reward total to $50,000. Her husband expressed gratitude for the increased reward, saying, "We are extremely pleased with the additional reward money and pray the notion that an individual with any knowledge surrounding the individual responsible for Missy's murder will come forward to receive this money." Now, that's something that I've been thinking about for the past couple days as I've started looking for more info on this case. And I know it's tough because you're looking at a relationship that might have not been on the best terms. Brandon and Missy, it seems like they were on the road to a possible split. It seems like there might have been some infidelity going on, possibly in both directions. The details aren't super clear on that, but we do know that something was wrong within their marriage. All that being said, she is still the mother of their 3 children. And for me personally, I was wondering, I'm just going to put it out there, I was just wondering why he's not making some more noise about this case, about the lack of progress in this case. Or potentially he's in on some information that not the rest of us are. Maybe he knows that police are working the case, that they have their suspect, but they're looking to collect information to actually be able to convict that person. I don't know, but I got to tell you, if this was someone close to me, maybe not even my wife, but even a close friend, I would be screaming at the rooftops, and I don't think it would be very hard for Brandon to get press attention. I think if he called a press conference on his front lawn, you're going to get news to show up there and capture it. So I did kind of wonder, looking at this, is Brandon doing all that he could be to actually help this case progress? Maybe he's so hurt because of what was going on in their relationship that he just can't get to that point. I'm not certain, but it does raise questions for me. And I know there's many people out there that are wondering, is he connected to this? This type of murder seems like a very personal thing. You have a blunt force trauma going on here. This is someone that apparently wasn't there to simply wipe out Missy, but it seems like they wanted to inflict some serious pain upon her. There are much easier and simpler ways that are less risky for someone to try to take care of someone else in that way. Getting close enough to try to attack someone with a hammer, there's a lot of risk around that. Missy was a strong woman. You could see from the photos of her. She was in shape. She could probably run a lot faster than the person that we see in that footage that is shuffling through the hallways of the church. There's a lot that could have went wrong for that person in terms of their mission to get this done. So I know it's tough, guys. There's so many weird questions that have yet to be answered in this case, and it gets frustrating because we start feeling like they're not going to be answered. Okay, so what has happened recently? Well, now we're going to have to talk about SWFA. SWFA Outdoors, as they're known on their website here. They sell firearms, ammunition, shooting gear, mounts, rings, and bases, as well as optics. And optics seems to be their first category, so it looks like scopes are kind of their most primary business, I would guess. Now, if you are familiar with this case, you know that SWFA released some footage to the police department from their security system of a car that was driving through their parking lot sometime around 2 a.m. on the night that Missy was murdered. From what we understand, Missy was letting herself in for a 5 o'clock class. I think some people estimate that she was in there somewhere around 4:15 to set up everything for this class. So the person that was in before her, kind of rough estimates are that they were in there for about a half hour walking around. If you kind of work those time frames back, the car that was in the SWFA parking lot might have at least seen something that was going on at the church, which is kind of across the street. I'll give you a little more detail on that in a moment. But is there some potential that the person in the car might even be the perpetrator? Well, when this info originally came out, that really didn't seem like it was the case. The police were very clear about, hey, we just want to get in touch with the person that has this car. It was a Nissan Altima, if I remember correctly, 2010 or 2012. We just think they might have seen something. We just want to try to find these people and speak to them. As far as we know, there have been no updates on that, so that person has not been located. Now, as of a month ago of me filming this, SWFA has a YouTube channel, and they have released that video again, but it's a bit different because it's a lot more complete. And the video that we got from the police originally, actually, if I remember right, it wasn't even video. If it was video, it was just a few seconds of the car as it was pulling out of the parking lot. And it was showing a license plate that you couldn't make out anything because their lights were on and everything was just bloomed. It was all white. But they were trying to note that there was a round circular sticker just below the license plate. But that's pretty much the only identifiable mark they had from the vehicle. But they didn't tell us anything about the vehicle's actions, why it seemed like it was in the parking lot that night, and now SWFA has released that video pretty much of its complete trip in and out of their parking lot. And a few questions certainly arise from this. So first of all, let's take a look at a satellite view map of the locations. And we can see Creekside Church is right up here, and we have SWFA Outdoors. The shop is right here. We're going to get a street view from here because one of the things that has been talked about is potentially someone could park in this parking lot if they wanted a view of the church. And you can see the church is up here. We could see it from where we're at in the road. So certainly if you had someone that was parking on this side of the parking lot, there is more parking over around the building and behind it. But if they're parked in this area in particular, they would certainly have a view of the church out there. Now, I've been in contact with a few different brain scratchers. They've been sending me a lot of thoughts and theories on this. One of the thoughts that has been discussed is, did they go to the church first, attempt the break-in, thought maybe they could have triggered a silent alarm, so they then decided to hop across the highway, wait in this parking lot, and see if police were going to respond. After waiting a certain amount of time, no police response, they know that they were safe. The church either didn't have a silent alarm or whatever method they were using for breaking in was not triggering an alarm, and then they went back. After looking at this view from the road, I can tell you, I think it's feasible. When I was looking at it originally from the air, it doesn't look quite as good. You see there's many trees on both sides of the highway here. Here's the parking lot, and keep in mind this circle. This is a good little place to kind of notice, especially for when we look at the footage together. But I was worried that the view through the trees would be too much, and the distance looked like it was pretty serious. But once you actually get to the street level view, you can see that's really not the case. This looks like it might be 1,500 feet or so between there, maybe 2,000 at the most, I would guess. Certainly reasonable that someone could look there. And that's not including the possibility that they had binoculars. So as usual, I will have links down below to everything that we're looking at, but I did just want to look at a quick clip with you of the car actually entering the parking lot. And this is where there is some new information here, because when the police released their photo or small clip of the car leaving, they didn't mention anything about the car's activity, what it was doing in that parking lot, and that is certainly worth discussing. So if we look here, here's that circle that I told you to remember. It's kind of a good place marker, and here is the highway. This is the car just as it's entering, and if we watch its motion, there we see it actually shuts off its headlights as it's entering the parking lot. That is a huge question for me. Why is someone that is driving at 2 o'clock in the morning going to shut off their headlights? Let's assume that this is a motorist that was tired, or we could even put it further out than that. Let's say this was a drunk driver and they were worried that they were being followed by a police officer or something like that. Are you really going to pull into a parking lot and shut off your headlights? I mean, that's going to draw way more attention, especially if you're being tailed by a police officer. Outside of that, are they worried that someone's already in the parking lot? Well, isn't it going to look stranger to that person when they see your car? They're obviously going to see your car as you're driving in here and your headlights are off. What is the motivation for this car turning its headlights off as it comes into this parking lot? It's a huge, huge question, and it's something we didn't know before this footage was released like this. Now the footage goes on and they cover it from multiple angles. First of all, whoever put this together did an excellent job. They literally went camera by camera, and you sometimes see the same moment happening from different perspectives. They'll show you from one camera the whole clip of that car driving through, then they'll go to the next camera and show you that same time frame but from the different perspective. Outside of that, they got this really interesting shot. I know it looks really dark on the screen here. I have tried to play with this image a little bit because, quite honestly, the image that the police released, you had no chance at all of seeing anything in terms of characters on the actual license plate. The footage from this particular shot, we can get at least a sense of some of the shapes that are on the license plate. Now, it's very far away from, you know, being able to determine shapes versus, hey, those are letters, I can tell that first one is an R. It's not quite near that, but let me play this clip for you. And this is just a quick look as I've adjusted the contrast and the brightness, and I'm also zooming in on these later passes so you can get a good look at what's going on here. And there's something about the license plate that kind of strikes me. The second character in, if this license plate was one where all the letters were equally spaced across the face of it, the second character in does not look like a letter to me. It looks like a big blob. At times I look at it, I think it might be shaped like a star. And in Texas, they do have some license plates that have stars on them, but not in that position. It's a really odd position being in that kind of second character. I've looked at tons of Texas license plates to try to match up some of the shapes to them. The only ones that come close, there is a license plate in Texas that has 3 crosses on it, one big cross with 2 smaller crosses. All of them are over on that side. To the left of that blob, if you're looking at it, there is something that looks like it could potentially be a T to me, so I thought maybe it was that specialty license plate. However, on that plate, the bottom has a complete black border that goes all the way across the bottom, and I do not see that in the footage, so I don't think it is that plate. But I wanted to share this footage with all of you out there to get your eyes on this. Maybe some of you are from Texas, are a bit more familiar with the types of specialty plates out there. Do you recognize this strange blob that's in the second position? Is it a logo of some kind? Is it something you might have seen before? I don't know. And also to note, there is something about looking at this footage while it's actually in motion that for me gives me a little more insight into the shapes that are on the plate. And then I'm showing you kind of the sweet spot of it. After this, the car accelerates very quickly and it just gets all blurred out. So it's very hard to tell that. But now I was contacted by another brain scratcher about their most recent video. Basically, they posted that video with the car surveillance footage. And then about 3 weeks later, they posted a video that is security camera footage from inside of their store. And the brain scratcher that contacted me thought that it might be related to Missy's case. Most of the videos are extremely clear cut in terms of what they are. And quite honestly, first of all, let me just say I'm impressed by this company in terms of the money they spent to have good cameras. Most of this footage is in high def. They even had a few color cameras outside. Some of the zooming they could do with their exterior cameras is amazing. I'll just say it's flat out amazing. And for the interior cameras and their YouTube footage, if someone goes into their place and tries to steal something, your face is probably going to wind up on YouTube. They literally post several videos of people stealing things from their store. And one of a gentleman who it looks like a packet of cocaine falls out of his pants while he's walking around the store. In all of those cases, the videos are very easy to explain. I just have to mention one more video. There is a guy that came to their store and it looked like he robbed things on a few different occasions. Well, he tries to leave the store and a bunch of employees run out and they pull all of their trucks up around his vehicle so him and the woman that's with him can't go anywhere. They call the police and they get the guy arrested. This store does not mess around. But in terms of their YouTube channel, this video doesn't seem to have a reason for, or at least an intent that I understand. The name of it, 012-32016. Now, I believe because it was published on December 23rd, 2016, this is possibly a typo. It could be that they were just naming it the date that they were publishing it and they missed one of the twos. Or this could be surveillance footage from December 3rd, 2016. I'm not sure, but with a name like this and no explanation for what this video is, it's very hard to understand. Now, what's in the video is even tougher to understand. I've tried to watch every person in this video. I'm looking for something that makes this video make sense in terms of what this channel usually posts. Someone stealing something in the background, or something funny happening, or something kind of strange. I can't make any sense out of it, and I can tell you some brain scratchers are already saying, oh, I think they put this out there because this might be related to the Missy case. Well, how is it potentially related to the Missy case? Now, a lot of time has been spent by armchair detectives looking at footage of other people around this case, trying to compare that unique gait, the way that the person walked in the church, with other people. Is this video potentially one of those? I don't know. If we take a look at it here, this gentleman that walks in that is working there certainly has a bit of the same traits in terms of how his toes are opened, kind of pointing out from the center of his body. But I don't think he is quite the right body type. It seems like this guy's a bit bigger than the person that was in the church. I think he's literally both taller and a bit heavier than the person in the church. Plus, you have to consider, why is SWFA posting this? This is their own employee. Are they trying to clue us in on something? I'm at a loss. I'm at so much of a loss that I actually called them twice today and couldn't get a whole lot of information out of them. Unfortunately, the employees there don't seem to know much about what goes on with the YouTube channel. The person that does manage the YouTube channel seems like they were a bit busy today. On my last phone call with them, they said, why don't you try sending us an email? They gave me the address, so I did that, and I just asked a few very simple questions. Number one, I was curious about the footage of the car in their parking lot. Did they release that of their own accord, or did Midlothian PD ask them to release that? And I'm just curious, are they as frustrated with this case as the rest of us? I was hoping to get a comment from them on that. Outside of that, I wanted to ask them about this particular video. Is this related to that case? And if it's not, what is it? Because understanding the intent of what this video is a bit tough, and putting it out after that last video, which is directly related to the case, and putting it out in this way where it's not identified, there's no description about what's going on in this video, it doesn't really match the tone of the other videos that you've posted on this channel, it's going to raise questions. I know people are going to start looking at this and saying, hey, this is related to the Missy case. Someone that's working there thinks this guy might have been the person that was in the police uniform. I'm trying my best to head that off, if at all possible, unless that is truly their intent. And I can tell you, as of the time that I'm filming this, they did not get back to me. I don't know the answer. I don't have any better information. Is there other ways that this could potentially be related to the Missy case? Perhaps. A brain scratcher that I've been chatting with a lot today about this case thinks that potentially the man walking here on the left might be a person of interest known as AJ Tucker. I don't know if it is AJ. I've looked at photos of this guy from this video stream with AJ kind of side to side, and I don't personally feel like it is AJ, but that is another way where I can tell you armchair sleuths are going to look at this video if they do think it's related to the Missy case, and potentially start buzzing about thoughts and theories on this video. So I don't want to put too much more emphasis on this video because we don't know the intent of it, but it is extremely odd. We do know the intent of the last one, at least in some form. We know that they want to help this investigation. They've posted that video for review on YouTube. So it's just, I have a question of, did they do it with police permission and support, or did the police actually even ask them to potentially do that, to maybe shake something up? We don't know. But this next video that came out, it could be completely unrelated to the case. However, it is somewhat compelling. There's another aspect to this video. See these boxes back up here? Kind of the shape of these boxes. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this item is, but knowing that selling optics is kind of one of their primary things, I think possibly that could be a scope, a rifle scope that's in that box. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but we've looked at this video quite a bit, and there is an object in this one frame, you can get a decent shot of it, that the culprit is carrying. And that box, in terms of its shape and size, it sure could be a rifle scope. Now, this raises several questions in itself. Why is that person carrying a rifle scope? Maybe they were using it as a recon tool. Maybe if they were trying to find a window to look through for when she was showing up. But then I have to ask, wouldn't you use binoculars for that? Maybe they thought a scope would be a bit easier to conceal so that someone wouldn't see the two binocular lenses looking out a window or something. I don't know. But a question even more important than all that is, why is this person carrying a box in there? What's inside that box? Why is it in the box? If you were going to take an object that you needed to conduct this horrible crime, wouldn't you remove it from the box and leave the box in the car or something while you put the item on your person? It's very, very strange. I'm still wondering what the heck this box is. As a matter of fact, a brain scratcher I'm talking to even sent this saying, hey, you know, there's this fishing device called a boga grip. It looks like that box is the same shape. He's absolutely right. This box could be many, many different things, and I really don't know. But I did confirm that they do indeed sell rifle scopes in boxes very similar to that, white, simple boxes. Another question that popped up when I was re-reviewing aspects of this case is, police have commented that they think the perpetrator might have filmed what he did to Missy on a cell phone. And I'm just really curious why they think that. I don't know if maybe they have some other footage of this person, maybe right before he walked into the door where she was and he had a cell phone and pulled it up for as he was walking in. I have no idea, but that is a note that I don't know if I covered on the previous video, so I just wanted to get it out there. According to the police, they think this cruel act might actually be filmed on a cell phone. Now, I got to tell you, for me personally, when I hear something like that, it makes me wonder, almost, is this a hit? Why would you be filming this? Is it something you're going to really watch back for yourself later? Is it something that you need to provide to someone else to provide proof of what happened? Or did that other person even request, hey, I want footage of this as it happens? Many, many more questions that are just spiraling around this case. Now, I know I've told you about previous events that have been held to honor Missy, but I'm not sure if I'll let you know about this one. In November, they had a 5K race to honor her memory, and it seems like that Camp Gladiator family is really doing a lot to try to keep attention raised around this case, and I'm just so thankful that they're there to do it. This feels like one of those cases that could totally fall off the public's radar and just everyone forgets about it. No one ever thinks about it again. And I think that would be a horrible tragedy. We need to keep people talking. We need to keep people asking questions. And we really need that police department. If they need more resources and more help, please, please, whoever's in charge of this stuff, get it going. Get that help you need. Get this thing solved. There are too many pieces to this case that are public now where there is a reasonable expectation that this thing is solvable. Regardless what Missy was going through in her relationship with her husband, regardless of what you might think of people that have relationships outside of their marriage, what's important here is this is a person whose life was taken away. She'll never have an opportunity to straighten any of that out. Who knows? That might have been a temporary thing. She might have been able to get back into her marriage and recommit. But regardless of all that, this is still a mother. This is still someone's daughter. This is still a family member. This is a group leader that was helping people gain fitness. There is a lot of value that was lost in the ending of this life. And I believe the best way to respect that is to keep that search for justice going, keep attention raised to this case. That's why I keep talking about this case. Outside of my big case, which you all have heard plenty of already, this case has been the one most recently that will just not let go of me. You guys keep asking me about it regularly. I keep thinking about it and trying to look for new information. It's been a trickle, but this last turn with SWFA, with at least the one video that we do know is related, that is pretty significant in my mind. There is some good potential that the person that was in that car might be related to this crime in some way. Is it the actual perpetrator's car? I think there's even a possibility of that if you look at these time frames. Could they have sat around outside of the church for an hour before they broke in again? Who knows? Who knows? We don't know how experienced this person is in doing these types of things. If you know that you only have a certain window of time of this person being there alone before her class shows up, you're probably going to want to get in there early. And seemingly this person did. There's so many questions to this case, guys. I don't know. It boggles my mind, but if what you guys keep sending to me is any indicator, we're not going to let it go. And I just feel this heavy weight in my heart that does not want to let this go either. I want to keep talking about this case, keep bringing it up, keep sharing new information with you. Hopefully you share that with other people that might be in the area. Maybe they know something. Maybe they have a friend that knows something. There is some way that the piece of info needs to be nudged loose in this case so that it can be solved. And if we can do anything to be a part of that, I'll do it, whatever it takes. Before I let you go, I will let you know that I have the email sent off to SWFA. If they answer before I post this tomorrow, I will probably shoot a quick update and release that at the same time that I release this video. So if you see that this is the only video released, know that I have not heard back from them. I really ask that you guys be respectful about that second video. I don't know if it's related to this case at all. I already know some people that are assuming that it is. I personally, when I look at it, I have a lot of questions and I wonder, why the heck is this video here? What does it mean? What is it for? What are we supposed to take from this? So even myself, I'm really questioning, is this part of this case or not? If I do get that answer firmed up, I will share it with all of you as soon as possible. And before I go, let me just give a heads up to anyone that lives in that area. Better not try stealing anything from that company, man. You'll wind up on YouTube. It's pretty amazing what they're doing there. They have the right equipment. As a matter of fact, I even wondered with how that car enters the parking lot and kind of drives around the perimeter and shuts off its lights and all that. I'm almost wondering if the person in that car knew that they would have a rad camera system there. But one of the many unanswered questions that unfortunately we will not be able to crack today. Thank you all for spending a little time with me here on BrainScratch. I appreciate each and every one of you out there. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you next week back here on the Lord and Arts channel.